Happy Easter, everyone. Hope all of you are enjoying your Easter Sunday. This is another installment of Around the Point here live on YouTube.com. It is Sunday, April the 12th, 2020. It's about, I want to say now, 8 more days until 420, if you will. But I hope all of you are having a very safe and enjoyable Easter. I know a lot of you are not able to, celebrate like you would every other year, if you will. And I know things right now just suck, but I think it's important to make the best out of everything right now. It's also, I believe, day number, oh crap, I lost count already, of quarantine. I hope all of you are staying inside, doing the right things. Apparently now you have to literally wear a face mask or whatever the fuck you call the little thing put on your face wherever you go now. Literally wherever you go, you have to have it on. I went to the supermarket a couple days ago and I had it on me. I had the mask on me, literally. And the guy was like, you have to put that over your nose, by the way. Your nose has to be covered. Like, they weren't allowing no one into the store, anything like that, without the mask. So it's gone serious, if you will, here where I'm at here in Jersey, basically. But again, I hope all of you are safe, staying home. They literally shut down the parks where I live at. So no one can go out to the park and stuff like that and what have you. If you are new to the podcast, hit that subscribe button down below. Give the podcast stream on YouTube a big old thumbs up. Around the Point is also available on all other podcasting platforms. On the podcasting platform that we're on, basically. We're on Apple Podcast, we're on Stitcher, we're on TuneIn Radio, we're on Google Podcasts, Anchor, and as well as Spotify. So you have those platforms you can listen to Around the Point on the go, the audio version that is. And we're also available over at okfabe.com. I want to thank my good old pal Connor for allowing my show to be on his platform every single week. There's a lot of stuff to get into this week in wrestling. A lot of things. And here I am, as you can see, I'm surviving. At the same time, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I really could use a haircut right now. And I know y'all going to think, oh, you're going to finally chop off your man bun. No, I'm not. Not yet. I know I will. And I did say that in 2020, the goal is that, yeah, I'm going to chop this thing off. And yet here I am, still with it on. And it's crazy because at this point now, when I go to the barbershop, and whenever I get to go back to get a haircut, what have you, I think I'm going to just chop it off. It's getting to that point now, really. But that's right now, no here or there. There's a lot to get into this week in wrestling. So much to get into. We got stuff on Ronda Rousey. We got stuff on the Revival. We got stuff on... I'm even going to review Dynamite from this past week because I was going to review it on Wednesday, but I got tired. I did an NXT review where I gave my thoughts on the One Final Beat, Win Gargano and Ciampa. Then my plan was, once that was done, record a Dynamite review. I even had the thumbnail ready to go, but I was tired. I was exhausted. So I'll scratch that. I'll just talk about it on the show like I am right now. I got to talk about the Revival being released. My thoughts on this past week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring with the Brawl for All. Again, there's so much stuff to get into. So much stuff to get into. All right. So if you're watching this right now, put your seatbelt on, smoke a blunt and all that stuff, and enjoy what I'm going to be discussing this week here on Around the Point. So let's get things started, shall we? With Ronda Rousey. Ronda fucking Rousey. Now, it's crazy how just one tweet can have everyone just trigger, everyone just so mad, everyone just all up in a bunch right now. It's kind of hilarious. Okay, how sensitive fans can be, if you will. So Ronda Rousey this past week was interviewed on the latest episode of Wild Ride, which is hosted by Steve-O from Jackass and all that stuff, which is basically his podcast. And during this episode, they were talking about, Ronda working for WWE and the type of schedule she had on the road. And this is basically what she said in quote, "I love the WWE. I had such a great time. I love all the girls in the locker room." That's what Ronda basically said. "Running out there and having fake fights for fun is just the best thing. I love choreography. I love acting. I love theater. Live theater and some of the last forms of live theater. But I was doing basically part-time, and I was away from home 200 days out of the year. And when I did get home, I was sleep deprived because you just don't have time to lay down." And then she went on to say, and I get this in mind too, okay? Yes, she was gone for so long, right? Hell, they put the belt on her. They put the Raw Women's title on Ronda Rousey, right, at one time. Keep that in mind, right? And at the same time, right, let's get this out of the way. People were upset. "Oh, she referred to it as fake fighting. How dare you, Ronda? What's wrong with you? How dare you?" Exactly, Jinder Mahal. Work. Absolutely, Jinder. But the point of the matter is people were so upset. "How dare you call this fake fighting? What is the matter with you? How can you say that it's fake fighting?" And the reality is, it's not the first time someone said that. And it will not be the last time. But again, because the internet's so salty, they just took this and "How dare you, Ronda? What's the matter with you? We paid we bought your house." But even before that, she was very loaded with money. But let's be real about it though, at the same time. How many times have we seen wrestlers? I know Jordan Grace said this a while ago. She wanted pro wrestling to be referred as theater art. Which essentially, yes, pro wrestling is a form of entertainment. It's a form of live choreography, because it is. Let's not kid ourselves here, okay? But there's that. So she also went on to say, so it's just like, what am I doing? What am I doing it for? If I'm not being able to spend time and energy on my family. But instead, and there's the part where people even got more upset. But instead of spending my time with a bunch of fucking ungrateful fans who don't even appreciate me. I love performing. I love the girls. I love being out there. But at the end of the day, I was just like, fuck these fans, dude. My family loves me and they appreciate me, and I want all my energy. I want all my energy to go into them. So that was my decision. At the end of the day, it's like, hey girls, love what you're doing. I'm gonna try to take all of my momentum and push you guys as far as I can. Fly, little birds, fly. I'm going fucking home. And that was basically it. And people just got so upset. People were just angry at what Ronda was saying. How, especially the fans. There's one thing, the talent, because there are some people within the company that spoke out, right? And people that were so upset about it, right? People that within the company, that were bitter, that were upset for what she said. At the same time, you had fans, right? These longtime wrestling fans, right? How dare you say that? What's wrong with you? Like I said earlier. But I think it's one thing about Ronda Rousey. We've known this for a long time. At the end of the day, that's her. How many times have we heard people say, wrestling's fake, right? Come on. I've heard that shit all my life. I'm sure all of you too, right? People will tell me, hey, yo, man, wrestling's fake, right? What I'm trying to say is at the same time, listen, not the first time, Not the last time. It's going to continue to happen, whether you guys want to admit it or not. You're going to hear that word time and time again. Now, I did say that after this, right, all the backlash from people going off on Ronda, this and that, right? Ronda went on to tweet this out, which I thought was funny, is how it's adding more flame, if you will. I guess more salt to the wound if you're one of these sensitive fans. This is what she wrote on her Twitter. And quote, one little thing I'm going to do here. Window capture. There you go. She wrote hashtag kayfabe killer. Anyone who is outraged by me calling pro wrestling fake fights for fun has never been in a real fight. While you all are tiptoeing around bruising some pro wrestlers, huge soft egos. Let me read that again. Okay, just to get that. I had a little brain fart here. While you all are tiptoeing around, bruising some pro wrestlers' huge soft egos, no one is thinking about all the real fighters you're insulting when pretending pro wrestling is somehow on the same level of realism. Yes, I understand wrestling 300 days a year for years on end is incredibly tough on the body and a difficult profession. But do you know what would happen if you got in 300 real fights in a year? You would be dead. And this, again, just added more salt to the wound. People were more mad. How dare you, Ronda Rousey? What was wrong with you? Again, just the same old, right? And I did say earlier that some people within the business, within the company, that is, right, responded to what Miss Ronda Rousey had to say, the former Raw Women's Champion. This was a tweet from Alexa Bliss. Was out for almost a year. Must have been fake. Keep this in mind, this tweet was on the 11th of April of 2020. You also have a tweet here by Lana, quote tweeting Pro Wrestling Sheet, and quote, I have no words for her audacity to say fake fighting. If it was fake, why can't Paige, TJ Wilson, that being Tyson Kidd, can't wrestle anymore? If it is fake, why couldn't Edge wrestle for 11 years? This is a contact sport where real things happen. Now, the idea, listen, it's a form of competition. Yes, there's physical contact. There is. One bad bump and you're dead. Not dead, but you're just done for. Your career's done. Severe injuries and all that stuff. We know this already. We know that. Okay? But this is where they're getting everyone. And then Nia Jax, who did talk about someone hurting Alexa Bliss almost a year ago or so, referencing Ronda Rousey on a live stream that she did. I guess it was Paige. She had Peyton Royce, Billie Kay, or Renee Young, Natty, and so on and so forth, right? But this is a tweet that Nia Jax wrote, and quote, I can't wait for Ronda to one day return to WWE, even if WWE orders me to make Ronda look good in the ring, which is the only way for Ronda to look good in the ring with me. I'll risk my job to go down in history as the one from this biz that knocked her the fuck out. Hashtag test me, bitch. So again, all the women within the company are triggered as well, along with the fans that were upset that she called, wrestling fake fighting, that is, as well as the fans that were upset that she called them ungrateful fucks. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Ronda Rousey, that is working everybody. And no one is seeing this shit. No one is seeing this shit. This is literally, in my opinion, the best work from Ronda, the best troll job by Ronda Rousey. Hands fucking down. Hands fucking down. And let's be real about it, okay? Let's keep it a buck here. Yes, without Ronda Rousey right now, this women division sucks. I've heard a lot of people tell me, I wish Ronda's going to come back. When is Ronda coming back? I wish Ronda would come back already. And you know what? So do I. In some way, shape, or form, right? Unpopular opinion, the WrestleMania main event from last year wouldn't have happened if Ronda Rousey was in WWE. I think we all know that already. But at the same time, again, everyone being upset, everyone that's angry and bitter and calling out Ronda Rousey, yes, playing clips of Ronda Rousey crying on the Ellen DeGeneres at the Ellen DeGeneres show a couple years ago after she lost to Holly Holm, after losing a year later, what have you. All that shit. Again, you're falling into the bullshit. Ronda Rousey is doing her job. And you know what? She even did say that, she will come back one day. But if she does, it's not going to be full time. And honestly, at the same time, no problem with that either. No problem with that at all. I think we can all agree again. We all miss Ronda Rousey. Let's be real about it. We all miss Ronda Rousey here right now. Okay? But again, she's playing you all. You all know it. I don't want to hear it. And again, not the first time, not the last time that we'll hear someone say that pro wrestling is fake. Been hearing that shit for as long as I can remember. Hey, yo, Steve. You know wrestling's fake, right? Hey, yo, Steve. You know he didn't hit him, right? Hey, yo, Steve. You know, and you kind of get the idea. And yes, I understand. But again, injuries like that you hear from people that have been in wrestling is real. I do believe that, yes. Okay? So there's that. Guys, give me your thoughts in the comment thread below. Your thoughts on this whole Ronda Rousey thing. Where do you stand on all this? All right, I would really love to read your comments and all that fun stuff. Or not, let me know on Twitter at HeelSteven, like you see there on the screen. Again, guys, this is Around the Point. This is the Easter edition. I will also be doing this week a retro review. I finished watching said pay-per-view a couple days ago, so I will be dropping a review this week from that show that I watched. All right, you'll know then, what have you, but that's what I'm also going to be doing going forward now that we're post WrestleMania, is review a pay-per-view from back in the day, whether it's because I have the WWE Network, an old school WWE pay-per-view, WCW pay-per-view, ECW, hell, I even have Impact Plus, which I don't even go on, to be honest, like that. I really, really don't. I might even review an old TNA pay-per-view from yesteryear. So that's what I'm planning on doing going forward, along with the podcast and stuff like that. So now you know what I'm going to be doing going forward here on the YouTube channel. So if you're not yet subbed, hit that subscribe button down below and all that fun stuff. Okay, hit the bell icon. I know a lot of people don't get video notifications and stuff like that. A lot of people who do videos, the video did not pop up in the subscription box. So hit the bell icon, I guess, to be notified and all that fun stuff. Yeah, you should. Anyway, I'm reading the comments here. I think it's all the work and the IWC are playing right into her hands. I agree, Big Fresh Matt. I agree with that. Ron is working us all. Big Mike, I agree. Chabello writes here, LOL, YWC fans are just a little butthurt and need to bitch and be hypocritical. Exactly. Jinda Mahal, work. I believe Jinda. I believe it. Also going on here, so I'm pretty sure, again, with COVID-19 and everyone, again, being told to stay home, right? Stay home, be safe. And WWE, what they've been doing with these tapings, what have you, right? You would think, we're waiting, what if, right? What if someone within WWE or even AEW, right, were to get caught with the virus, right? Well, it's happened. It's actually fucking happened. Apparently, an on-screen talent in the company, right, who is not a member of the roster, tested positive for COVID-19, aka the Rona. The Rona. The coronavirus. Now, if you're a Republican, you will call it the Chinese virus, but that is around the point. Oh, Steve, how could you say that? Hey, it is what it is. So that happened, and if what they're telling, that's crazy. It actually happened, right? Holy crap! And according to sources, the person that got caught with this virus went out to dinner with friends. That's right, went out to dinner with friends who work in the healthcare industry following the completion of WWE's latest batch of tapings, which included WrestleMania 36. We're told that the person then began feeling symptomatic and was tested for coronavirus. That person tested positive and immediately went into quarantine. Since then, they have been in quarantine the entire time. Sources say that the person was cleared of the virus at the end of the week and is now feeling much better. And here's the thing about it, okay? This is the one thing that I will say about this, okay? Okay, if you're going to go out to eat, number one, we've been hearing from everyone, right? I'm pretty sure in every single state in this country, right, that I can think of, okay? Every restaurant, every fast food joint, every diner, right? They're doing takeout. You're not allowed to sit in. Hell, even where I live at, the chicken shacks now, they took out all the tables, right? You can go in, you can order your food, and then that's it. You pick it up, take it to go. Or if not, there's Uber Eats, there's DoorDash, there's Postmates, there's Grubhub, I guess, where you can order said food. But if you're going to go out to get at a restaurant, what restaurant is opening right now with all these circumstances that are allowing you to sit in? More importantly, why would you go out to eat with people from the medical field that are dealing with this shit already? That are already dealing with this. That's crazy. And this happened. Now, you got to factor this in. Who could it be, right? Could it be a ring announcer, a color commentator, maybe a referee, maybe someone that holds the camera? Because they said it's not someone from the roster. It's not a wrestler, that is, right? It's not. I believe it's either a referee or an announcer or a commentator. Or those people do interviews. Maybe so. But that's crazy, though, that, it happened. And you would think with that, that's it. They shut down everything, right? Nope. Things are still going as usual because apparently this is the statement that they post, WWE that is, right? This is a statement that they posted, right? Just crazy as well, right? A WWE employee, right? That has tested positive for COVID-19. We believe this matter is a low risk to WWE talent and staff as the individual and a roommate became, like I said before, symptomatic in the days following the exposure. The two people working in acute health care on the evening of March 26th after WTV production on a closed set was already complete. The employee had no contact with anyone from WWE since being exposed to those two individuals, is doing well and made a complete recovery. Which is, again, that's insane, right? And again, the virus does not give a fuck who you are. And you would think with all this, right? Okay, again, like I said before, that they would decide to, pause everything, right? Take a break. No. Things are still going as usual. Apparently, even WWE's, they're planning to film months worth of television tapings next week. Or that was the plan. But apparently, per Dave Meltzer of The Observer, that Vince changed his mind. No, yeah, he changed his mind. The old man has changed his fucking mind. And instead what we're going to be getting is basically live TV shows week after every single fucking week, which is insane. It's fucking insane, right? WWE will go close to live as they possibly can to uphold their television deals. Now, it appears that WWE will be required to make weekly trips back and forth. The superstar, the talent that is, right? They are required to make weekly trips back and forth. This could possibly pose a big problem for those superstars that were keeping themselves in self-isolation for 2 weeks before returning to their families, which is crazy. And apparently, can you imagine though? Think about it, right? You know, you're doing all these tapings, right? You want to go home, but you can't go home because you got to be in quarantine before you go back to your family. Now, just to have Vince McMahon say, you know what? Fuck all this shit, pal. We're going live, pal. We are going live. Instead of the safety measure, let's tape all these shows in advance, have them in the can, right? At least that's what AEW is doing. They have taped so much stuff already in advance that even, like, again, they're covered. I believe all the way until like May, I think. They are covered, right? But instead, no, Vince McMahon wants to go live. Live Monday, live Wednesday with NXT, Monday with Raw, and Friday with SmackDown. So that sucks. And where's that at? Right here. Here are my notes here. Apparently, per Meltzer, the NBC Universal contract allows for 3 non-live shows each year, which are the 2 European shows and the Christmas week show. I presume, this is what he's saying, by the way, that's what Meltzer's saying, I presume the Fox deal is similar. I don't know that for a fact because of that feeling is that if they violate that contract, one of these companies who is doing poorly financially themselves will have the option to pay less or something. That's another thing to take into consideration. But even if that, like, no, bruh. I said this already and I'm going to say this again. And I know I'm going to be repetitive when I say this shit. Because, again, I love wrestling as much as everyone else, right? Wrestling is an escape, right? For everyone, for what the fuck they're going through in life, right? But I think we can all agree here that, listen, right now, pro wrestling needs to take a back seat. Everything in general. Listen, there's the network. You can watch stuff from back in the day, right? It's not like Vince McMahon is going to build Fight Island like Dana White is building, apparently. Because apparently Dana White was trying to do UFC 249 this coming weekend. He had it all ready to go at an Indian reservation, I think it was in California. But being that Khabib is still stuck in Russia, the idea was to do Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. Everybody's ready to go until Disney got involved and I think the California government got involved and they just told Dana White, you can't go. There's no show. Cancel everything. And apparently Dana White is apparently going to be building Fight Island. That's the thing. Fight Island. It's like Duelist Kingdom from Yu-Gi-Oh! Mini-year. But the point of the matter is, okay, apparently their plan is, again, do all the stuff in the Performance Center. It's terrible right now. It's terrible. It's not worth it. It's really, really not fucking worth it. They need to really consider this shit. I really, really hope that, you know what, a lot of people from the company speak up and say, you know, we're not doing this shit. Fuck that. It's risky as shit right now. Put it this way. I work in retail. Okay? And I opted, believe it or not, to, you know what, not work. Because I'm not taking the chance of getting sick because some asshole customer decided to not go with the protocol. The other thing, too, a lot of these supermarkets, and I know it's completely off topic. I know. But again, it's me. Expect that from me, okay? I tend to go off topic a lot of times. It's not like these supermarkets are testing out customers either with their temperature. Like at my job, before we go into work, we gotta get our temperatures tested. checked out, if you will, right? How come they're not doing that for customers? Just saying. I'll even go one further. To me, my humble opinion, if you're someone under the age of 18, you should not be working right now. If you're a minor, I get it. A lot of jobs right now, it's all they can do. They have no one to fill in, so they gotta. I get that, but honestly, if you're a minor under the age of 18, you should not be working. Can you imagine, right? If a Costco or a BJ or my job, right? Because we have minors working. Can you imagine if someone that's under the age of 18 gets hit with the virus? God forbid. Can you imagine one of the talents that's going to be going there live every Monday, right, for Raw, or Wednesday for NXT, or Friday for SmackDown? Imagine if they get sick. Can you imagine? That's the last thing we really need right now. That's the last shit we really fucking need. So if I'm Vince McMahon, you know what? Pump the brakes. Pump the fucking brakes. Because at the same time, we don't even know, and again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, we don't know how long this shit will last. They say that the heat and the humidity will kill the virus. But again, wrestling is dead right now. Big Mike, you may be right on that. Pro wrestling right now is dead. Believe it or not. Everyone, as we know, is taking a break till further notice. WWE, in theory, is the only thing that's happening live right now. Because AEW taped all their shows already. They're in the can, so everyone, I'm assuming, is already at home, relaxing, being safe, and all that stuff. It's insane. It's so fucking insane. All right? But guys, give me your thoughts on all that. Give me your thoughts on what I talked about, if you will, in my little mini rant, if you want to even call it that. By all means. Let's talk about the revival. The fucking revival. Holy shit. This past Friday, they announced on WWE.com that both Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder were both granted their release from WWE. Now, mind you, Dawson's contract was set to expire this month. So he was already out. While Wilder, Dash Wilder that is, right, still had more time left on his deal. Now, keep this in mind. They both wanted out for a long time, right? They were talk that WWE offered them both a shitload of money for them to stay, and they refused. They stuck to their guns. Hell, to my understanding, WWE wasn't even paying them the last month. And here's the thing about it, okay? Yes, they're free. They're free at last. Thank God Almighty, they're free at last, right? All that stuff. I just opened me a can of Arizona. That's right, Arizona. Yeah, I drink a lot of green tea, believe it or not. Fun little fact. I love green tea. But that's beside the point. You look at their work at NXT. It's amazing stuff. And here's the thing about it, yo. I used to hate the Revival. I thought they were the most boringest team at one time when they debuted. Hell, even until this very day, I can't tell them apart. Who's Dash Wilder? Who's Scott Dawson, right? Who's Scott Dawson? Who Dash? I don't even fucking know, right? And then I remember TakeOver Brooklyn 2. I was there for that show. SummerSlam weekend 2016. It was the Revival versus DIY for the NXT Tag Team title. I remember Walter even said this to me too, going into the match. They are the most boring tag team. And I thought the same way too. This team was boring. This team sucked. And then they had that match with DIY, Gargano and Ciampa, and they tore the roof off the Barclays Center. And they won me over. They won Walter over. And we're like, yep, the Revival are the shit. And then they followed that up with TakeOver Toronto. That 2 out of 3 falls match. Right? Where DIY got the win, but they literally blew the roof off that building too in Toronto. So we knew how good they are at NXT. You would hope that when they hit the main roster, that they will still have the same momentum, if you will. They'll carry that same energy. Then they go to the main roster, and there was promise, right? Remember when they debuted and they took out the New Day? They stomped on the little ice cream cart, whatever that they had at the time, that being the New Day, right? And then one got hurt and the other got hurt, and they were just lost in the loop, lost in the shuffle. And it sucks. It sucks because, again, it's a team, an act, if you will, that was entertaining as hell. What was the whole thing, right? At Forever the Revival, FTR, Say Yeah, no flips, just fist, and all that stuff. And it looked like they were gonna do something with them when they placed the Revival with Randy Orton, and that never came about. And I know for a lot of people now, they're gonna be saying, "Oh, now I want to see the Young Bucks versus the Revival. That's the match you got to make, right?" Apparently, keep this in mind as well. They don't have a 90-day no compete clause under contract. So, as we speak, they're able to go wherever they want. If they want to show up in AEW, they can show up in AEW and be All Elite. But I'll say this too. If it was up to me, this is what I would do if it was the Revival. This is what they should do. Again, it's not up to me, but you kind of get the idea, right? What I want to see. I want to see them go out there on the independent scene. I want to see the Revival, that is, right? Go out there on the independent scene. Tear it up for a while, right? And then, if they're to go to a company, I will honestly, to be real with you, I want to see them in the NWA. I feel like that's a better fit for them. The NWA. Hell, even New Japan. Can you imagine, right, the Revival in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Can you imagine the Revival versus Guerrillas of Destiny? Can you imagine the Revival versus, who was it, freaking Juice Robinson and fucking Dave Finlay? Again, just throwing some names out there, right? You kind of get the idea, right? Just throwing names out there right now. I know there's more teams in New Japan. Or can you imagine, like, the Revival versus Evil and Sonata? Saying, right? The possibility you can make right there, right? Or if not, yeah, you know what? If they go to AEW now, that'll be the predictable route. Why would you want them to sign with another major promotion just when they left another one? Why lock them to a deal right now when they just left one? Let them have fun for a little bit. I know people are going to say, oh, but, Jericho, Moxley, they have deals with, they're signing to AEW, but yet they can still go to New Japan. Oh, and that's fine, but they're Jericho and Moxley. So of course they can. Absolutely. So honestly, let them have fun right now. Let them tear it up on the independent scene right now. Hell, one match I want to see on the independent scene, once all of this shit's cleared out, once the world's back to normal, the Revival versus the North. That's a match I want to see. Honest to God. Yes, we might get the Revival and the Young Bucks, right? But not right now. Save that for All Out. I'm pretty sure they'll go to AEW. I know Jim Cornette said he'll never go there. Even if he manages the Revival, it'll never happen. But honest to God, if you want to spice up the Young Bucks versus the Revival, have Jim Cornette be in the corner of the Revival, why the fuck not? There's money to be made right there. I'm just saying. Just fucking saying. Apparently as well, in case you guys don't know, apparently Dash Wilder will now go by the name of Cash Wheeler. So I'm assuming he is the older brother of Joy Wheeler from Yu-Gi-Oh! And Scott Dawson will now go as Dax Hardwood. So we'll see where Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler will end up going. They do have now a shirt up on Pro Wrestling Tees. So there's that. Moving on here. But guys, give me your thoughts in the comment there. Where do you want to see the Revival go? Where do you want to see Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood now go, now that they're free from Vince McMahon and WWE? And let them go out there and prove the world wrong. Show WWE what they missed out on. Let me know in the comment thread below. If not, let me know on Twitter at HeelSteven. Where do you want to see the revival go? Let me know in the comment thread below. I'm not big into football. I never really was. I know a lot of people within the chat here are big into professional football and all that stuff. I always say every year that I'm going to try to give it a chance, and I never do. I know. I'm a bad football fan. Shame on me. But I always say, you know what? I'm going to give them a chance. I'm going to give football a chance. Right? I don't have a team. I don't. Right? So when the XFL became a thing, it was like, cool, awesome, I guess, right? The XFL, here it is. Something for, I guess, another league, right? They're trying to make a comeback, right? And they debuted after the NFL was done, right? So it was football all year round. And it's funny because when it happened, I knew a lot of friends, again, that watch football, watch the NFL, didn't give a shit about the XFL. They knew it was owned by Vince McMahon. Oh, that Vince McMahon bullshit, right? Yeah, basically. Hell, I even knew people that were, even because at work, right? We have a break room and there's a TV. So they would show games of the XFL because the XFL was on Fox. So I remember some of my coworkers, just like this old guy, he's laughing at this. This is stupid. This is silly. It's crap, what have you, right? It is what it is. So with that, the news came on Friday that the XFL is no more. The XFL suspended operations Friday morning, and multiple sources told ESPN that the league has laid off nearly all of its staff, and a handful of executives remain employed. A handful of executives remain employed, and currently has no plans to return in 2021. And honestly, it's the best move right now because right now, again, everything's going crazy right now with the COVID-19. We don't know when this thing will get back to normal, the world, right? Yes, everybody wants to go back to work. Everybody wants to go on with their lives, right? This has been literally the 5th Saturday in a row that I sat at home, not gone out. Hell, I don't even have a fucking haircut right now. I want to get a fucking haircut right now. That's crazy right now. I'm wearing a hat. My hair feels like shit right now. Okay? The point of the matter is, it's crazy, right? You would never think this would happen. Here's Vince McMahon putting all this money, right, for the XFL. He partnered up with some media group, what have you, and this happens. Not even a season in, and it's done. It's over. It's practically over. Now what? Now what do you do, right? But again, people were telling me, yo, I don't give them a season. It's not going to last. And they were right for now. But there's that. I guess if any of you out there are even fans of the XFL, there you go. Let's talk about AEW from this past Wednesday night. AEW for April the 8th, 2020. I did watch the show on replay because I was watching NXT and I was watching the... And I gave my review on it already. It's up in the archive of the channel. And like I said before, my plan was to review Dynamite after the NXT review, but I was exhausted. I was tired. And I was like, you know what? I'll talk about AEW here on the podcast. So here I am talking about All Elite Wrestling, AEW. Again, they taped all these shows in the can already, so they're set until like parts of May. So just in case, they played the smart route. So good on AEW for that. The show opened up. By the way, it was also the debut of the TNT Championship Tournament, which I'll get into also in a little bit. So the show opened up with a promo from Jake Roberts, who predicted Cody will lose his he will lose his TNT Championship Tournament match to Shawn Spears, so he won't have to face Lance Archer. There was that cool Jake Roberts promo to kick off the show. I'll say this, though, what I did enjoy about it, and I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed seeing Tony Schiavone and Jericho on commentary. I thought that was great. Fucking awesome. Those two guys, they meshed well. I think Jericho, when it's all said and done, when he decides to really hang it up, could have a good future on commentary, in my humble opinion. So the show kicked off, right? The show kicked off with Lance Archer versus Allen Angles, or Angels, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It was a squash match. Again, you want to showcase how legitimate, how much of a threat Lance Archer is before he has his tournament match, because he's also in the TNT Championship Tournament against Colt Cabana. That's going to happen in a couple of weeks. So you want to show how, how threatening he is, because, eventually he's going to face Cody. So you want to make him look strong, if you will, right? We then had Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. And I thought it was funny. I know Dasha Fuentes, right? That's how I know her as, right? I know she has another name. I am fully aware of that. But I know her as Dasha Fuentes. Just the way she was naming the wrestler, like by the names and stuff like that, it was funny as hell. When Hikaru Shida came out, she's like, Hikaru Shida. I thought it was just funny as all hell. Okay? Against Britt Baker. Dr. Britt Baker. This match, honestly, for me, was all over the place. Believe it or not. A running knee strike by Shida to Baker, and Baker's nose got busted open during the match, and she bled profusely. It went long. For me, it went long. But eventually, Hikaru Shida did end up getting the win over Britt Baker. And there's that. At the same time, again, Britt Baker is the Joseph Benavidez of AEW, if you get the reference. But damn, it sucked, though. It sucked for Britt Baker. Yeah, she was bleeding. Apparently, though, there's an image of her, like, with her nose and mouth just bleeding. She's smiling. That's now a T-shirt on AEW shop. I am not surprised by no means at all. Just saying. We had the Best Friends versus Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa. The match literally was an actual match with Best Friends, right, on the line. So apparently the team name for Best Friends was on the line for this match. Because apparently Nakazawa and Omega were saying backstage that, hey, we are best friends for all these years, right? We are real best friends. Trent and fucking Chuck Taylor, they're just calling themselves best friends, but they're not really best friends. So that's why the match even happened. And for what it was worth, the match was okay. Now, yes, I could have done without the shenanigans of Michael Nakazawa. That's just me, of course. The whole baby oil bullshit, the fucking underwear that he pulled out of his trunks, what have you, whatever. But here, though, the actual Best Friends won. They hit the strong zero on Nakazawa. Of course, Kenny Omega was not getting it pinned here, so there you go with that. We then, from there, had what I've enjoyed, these video packages hyping up the Jon Moxley and Jake Hager match. Because, again, they're going to have a match next week in an empty arena, a no-holds-barred match for the AEW World Championship. And again, I've enjoyed it. It reminded me a lot of the old Countdown to UFC type. It had that vibe to me, right? Like you would see in the UFC, right? Two guys going at it for the world title, hyping themselves up for the match. And again, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. So there's that. I think obviously, yes, Moxley won the match. So there's that for next week. But nonetheless, I look forward to the match, though. I look forward to seeing what the fuck they're going to do next week when they're in an empty fucking building. But at the same time, yes, you can make the argument, but it's Dean Ambrose and Jack Swagger for the world title. We had another video of Mr. Brody Lee showing up to a building. He drove his Mercedes truck, if you will, or something like that. Looked like a Jeep, but it was a Mercedes-Benz Jeep, if you will. And he shows up, and you see three members of the Dark Order. Two of them were in their regular attire with the mask on, but one of them was actually dressed up for the occasion with the tie and all that stuff. And he got mad at the other two who did not dress up, like the guy with the tie on and shit. Just going off on them to an extent, how they need to be taken serious, not be looked like a joke, because they can't think that they just have power right away, stuff like that. So there was that. And then we had Brody Lee beating Lee Johnson with a rolling lariat. So there's that. A squash match to showcase how Mr. Brody Lee, again, is this threat. But I'll be real about it. I am not convinced at all by this whole Brody Lee exalted one. I am not. To me, still, even with all this, I get it. You want to showcase that this guy could have been something in WWE, right? That's the perception almost. But it's like, it's not doing it for me. It really, really isn't. Okay? You can't tell me this guy is going to be now a big time player now in AEW. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Good talent. Don't get me the fuck wrong. But the way you're presenting him is not it. I'm sorry. It's not it. The Dark Order has been doomed to fail. I'm not convinced by the Dark Order at all still. They remind me of the Foot from the Ninja Turtles. I'm still convinced by that. But yeah, there's that. If you really want to bring someone, I guess, to make this feel like a fucking threat, I said this a while ago on Twitter. Sinister Minister could have been the one. But it is what it is. It never happened. And then from there, we get a video from Matt Hardy challenging Jericho to if I'm not mistaken here, to an Elite Deletion match at the Hardy compound. They had Vanguard 1 show up, and they ended up burning the shirt that Jericho gave Vanguard 1 last week. So there's that. We're going to get the match eventually. So once again, we're going to get another cinematic match down the road in AEW. God help us all. But then again, I'm giving it a chance. It'll probably be the best thing on the show. Like I said before, with these cinematic matches, less is good. We had the main event, Cody versus Shawn Spears, in the opening match of the semifinals for the we had the quarterfinals, right? The quarterfinal for the TNT Championship tournament. The match was okay. It was an okay match, good back and forth. Probably the best thing on the show by default. Just Shawn Spears working on just basically, again, back and forth for what it was worth. Just Shawn Spears working on Cody here. There's a moment where Cody goes through a table that was literally on the outside. They were beating each other up. What kind of got to me though, and I'll say this, right? The way it ended, so Cody locks in their figure four, right? And instead of Shawn Spears tapping out like you would for the figure four, he got pinned. So it was a 1, 2, 3 like that, and it was over with. So that's how Cody won. If you want my prediction, who's going to win? Because again, in this tournament, you had that match. You have still to come, you have Kip Sabian versus Dustin Rhodes. You also have Lance Archer versus Colt Cabana. And then you have Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. Those are the matches for the tournament. If I'm predicting a winner right now who I think could really benefit from this tournament, in a perfect scenario, really to be honest here, I would say Cody Rhodes right now, hands down. Cody, when you think about it, is like the best established person on the roster right now. Obviously, you think TNT, right? Who would they want? Cody. You can even make the argument, someone like a Darby Allin, if you really want to be different here, if you will. But yeah, they're telling you the finale is going to be Cody versus Lance Archer, where Cody finally beats him. But we'll see where that goes too. Guys, give me your thoughts, your predictions, if you are even caring for AEW. Your thoughts on that tournament. Who do you see winning and all that stuff? Because we're not done with tournaments yet. Apparently, WWE is also doing a tournament as well. That's right. They are going to be doing a Cruiserweight title tournament to crown the new interim Cruiserweight champion. Because apparently, the current champion, like I said on the NXT review, Jordan Devlin, is not able to come to the States because of the travel ban. So they're doing a tournament to crown the interim champion. So I'm assuming that interim champion will then face Jordan Devlin down the road to crown the undisputed Cruiserweight champion. So for this right now, right, if you look at, so basically, it's going to be a G1 style tournament. So instead of the bracket that we saw for the Cruiserweight Classic or the tournament that they did about 2 years ago when Enzo got released and they had to vacate the title and do a tournament and crown the new champ at WrestleMania. Here they're doing two groups, and a group A and group B, and it's 8 wrestlers, right? 4 members of each group, and they all got to wrestle each other. And the person with the most wins of each group will then meet on the finale to be crowned the new interim champion. So Group A has Kushida, Drake Maverick, Tony Nese, and Jake Atlas, who lost on NXT a couple weeks ago on his debut. So there's that, to Dexter Lumis, right? Group B has Isaiah Swerve Scott, El Hijo de Fantasma, Akira Tosawa, and Gentleman Jack Gallagher. If I'm the pick right now, who I see coming out of this, I would say from Group A, I would do Kushida. And in Group B, being the people that's here, I would do Isaiah Swerve Scott. That's what I would do. I'm surprised that Leo Rush is not in this tournament. I'm surprised by that. But whoever it is, again, in the long run, the match with Jordan Devlin is going to be a fire match. So I look forward to that. And again, it's something for these guys to do on 205 Live until they decide to finally come up with something. So there's that. Okay? There's fucking that. Now, let's talk about Dark Side of the Ring before we wrap this whole thing up here. Now, I did watch Dark Side of the Ring. Overall, I've been enjoying what I've been seeing. What I've learned thus far is, 1, don't fuck with New Jack. Do not, and I repeat this shit, do not fuck with New Jack. Hell to the no. What I've also learned is that Vince Russo and Jim Cornette just need to fight. I'm sorry, if I'm an indie promoter, throw the money out there and let these two guys just fight. But more for Jim Cornette. More for Jim. Could this basically what this episode for the Brawl for All really was? It was Jim Cornette and Vince Russo back and forth going at it. Now, here's the thing about it, okay? The Brawl for All, for those who don't know, was that tournament from back in the day where they had that shoot fighting, right? Just during the Attitude Era. And what I've gathered, because I'm not going to go into detail, if you will, but just cliff notes of it, right? Because I did watch and all that stuff. The idea was that the winner would get $75,000. And that the winner would be, again, that's the prize, but the idea was also, hey, you win this, you get a future program with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Right? And the idea was that, hey, Dr. Death Steve Williams was going to win this whole thing, right? And work with Steve Austin. But the idea was all these matches were fights, boxing fights, shoot style. Nothing choreographed, nothing scripted. Just go out there, get hurt, fight, what have you, right? Put the gloves on them, like a boxing fight, right? And their belief was that, hey, Dr. Death's going to win this, no problem. They even had Dan Severn in the tournament, but Dan Severn, he just, after the first fight, I can't do this. I'm out, basically. They had The Godfather, they had Draws, they had Dan Severn, like I mentioned earlier, Dr. Death, Mark Merrow, who was a Golden Gloves champion many years ago, Bart Gunn, who went on to win the whole thing, Bradshaw, who apparently, per Vince Russo, is the reason why the Brawl for All even started, because Vince Russo did not like JBL, Bradshaw that is, because Bradshaw once said that, hey, if this was for real, he would kick everyone's ass. He was a loudmouth, so that's how this whole thing started, right? They had Too Cold Scorpio, they had The Godfather, like I mentioned, they had, again, all these people, right? All these fucking people, right? But the idea was that Dr. Death was going to win. That was everyone's belief. And then, what do you know? Bart Gunn knocked him the fuck out. and no one saw that coming. Granted, Bart Gunn fucked up his hamstring in the fight, so there was that too. They interviewed, again, a lot of good people for the, obviously Vince Russo, Jim Cornette, and they're arguing back and forth. They interviewed Bart Gunn, who was like the main thing on this whole thing. The Godfather. They interviewed Draws. They even interviewed at the end D'Lo Brown, I believe, as well. That I can remember, right? They even added a clip of Bruce Pritchard's podcast, Something to Wrestle With, when they talked about the Brawl for All, how all the names were picked out of a hat, right? Bart Gunn feels like, no, that's not really true, because in the first opening round, it was Bart Gunn and Hardcore Holly, and they were a tag team at the time, so there was that as well. It's funny because, again, the finale was Bart Gunn versus Bradshaw, and Bart Gunn knocked out Bradshaw, and you would think, hey, now what? What do? They send him home for like 6 months or so, because they had nothing for him. And at the same time, they were not expecting Bart Gunn to be the one to win the tournament. They didn't expect that. So their plans were fucked. And I guess until WrestleMania time, hey, Butterbean was available, so Vince told Bart Gunn, apparently, no, he paid her to go to boxing school to learn how to box. And at WrestleMania, it was Bart Gunn and Butterbean. And that's what happened. And then Butterbean dropped Bart Gunn and he beat him. But again, it's really worth the watch. More than anything, like I said before, for the Vince Russo and Jim Cornette going back and forth. Again, we already know that Cornette does not like Russo at all. They can't even be in the same. I can only imagine. Can you imagine? I'm just saying this, right? What would happen at a WrestleCon or a StarCast or any convention that is, and Vince Russo and Jim Cornette were to be in the same place? God help us all. But honestly, for real, that is, in my opinion, the one thing that needs to happen. I swear to God, if you're any promoter out there, once all this is said and done, I'm just saying it right now, that's the one thing you got to make. Jim Cornette versus Vince Russo. Just for the visual. Just for the fucking visual, right? But again, it's one of those things where, yes, the whole Brawl for All was, looking back on it, a fucking train wreck. People got hurt, obviously. People weren't the same, and what I got from it too was, I guess if you're in the Attitude Era back then, you might have thought, oh, it's entertaining as shit. But in the long run, it was not the way to go. It was a fucking disaster at the end of the fucking day. All right? But that's basically it for me. I hope all of you are safe, are enjoying yourselves, what you're doing, and all that fun stuff. I'll be back next week for more. I do plan on doing a Raw review. I also plan, again, being active on the channel, right? I will do a retro review coming up this week as well. I'll get into more details when that happens, when it drops, and all that fun stuff. But again, like I did say before, I want to start doing retro reviews on a weekly basis on the channel. So again, if you are not yet subbed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit the bell icon as well. Around the Point is also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, also Anchor. Anchor, of course, I want to thank them for being the sponsor of the show. If you're a podcaster, if you want to start your podcast off, Anchor is the way to go. Number one, it's free. They're available. They will help you get your podcasts available on all podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so on. They have the most amazing creating tools to help you edit your podcast, whether you're on your phone, whether on your computer. It's easy to use if you're an iPhone user or an Android user. And it's available again on the internet, anchor.fm, or if not, if you're an iPhone user, on the Apple Store, on the App Store that is, and if you're an Android user, on Google Play. Anchor.fm, the best way to go to start your own podcast. And we're also available over at okfabe.com, so there's that as well. And with that being said, guys, this has been another installment of Around the Point, and I will see you guys next week for more here on Around the Point. Take care, dorks.